Doing what he does best. He can...
No! Just a little sneak peek of what's coming your way in this episode. Episode 3 is here. We got weeks 5 and 6, and we're just going to keep stacking good weeks. Week 5 is going to start the day off right. We got a lot of really good and fun, interesting games. Rice at Fresno is an interesting one. We got an in-state battle in Missouri, and that's actually where we're going to start this bad boy. Missouri State not looking to play little brother anymore, traveling up the road to Columbia. Now, they trail 30-14 here late in the fourth quarter, but Josh Joyner is going to get in the end zone and cut this thing to a 10-point game prior to the 2-point conversion. You know they're going to get this, right? The Bears knock back, and they're only down a score now. You go from 16 to 8. That is how it's done. And then the defense makes a stand under the 2-minute warning. They're going to get the ball right back. 19 seconds left in this game. Rolling out is Votto. Can he find somebody open? Oh, he's going to make a move upfield. He gets in the end zone. Now you need a second 2-point conversion. This is the determining factor on whether or not they win or lose the game. And it's a backup quarterback. He's going to find his receiver. That is a good 2-point conversion. We got some free football. We're going to overtime. Missouri on the first play of the extra frame. Yeah, that's right. They score a touchdown, and they go up 37-30. But they got first and goal, the Bears do. The backup quarterback on this same play, they got the 2-point on. It's picked off, and the Bears fall just short of pulling off the upset in Columbia. Tough way to lose that one. And here's that other game we mentioned, food taken on Fresno State. We have one rule on this channel. Thank you, Josh Pate, for this one. Do not lose to food. You lose to Rice, you're gone. We can't help you. Oh, no. Is Fresno State going to lose to Rice? Oh, no. Oh, no. What is going on? Oh, they went to the blind and deaf school of tackling. My goodness, what was going on that drive? Oh, and Rice has got the ball again. We are right before halftime, and they're just going to run the ball. They said, our guys are bigger, faster, stronger than yours. Touchdown, Owls. Oh, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. They're back in the... Oh, no. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, Fresno State. Oh, they have life. They have life. By the grace of the football gods, they have a life. Resurrection is here. Just kidding. They lost 45-17. Yeah, they lost to food. Coach Sonnenberger is, let's just say, on the hot seat. Bowling Green looking to get back in the win column. They are 1-3 on the season, taking on 1-3 Western Michigan. And if you thought the battle of the 1-3 teams was going to go in a way that was favorable for Bowling Green, you're wrong. That pick right there, kind of a good summation of what happened in this one. 41-0. You can't get blanked by a 1-3 team. You just can't have that happen. That's a first conference loss for the Falcons, though. Middle Tennessee State taking on Nevada. This is a rematch of last year's game in which the Blue Raiders won 42-7. And the Blue Raiders strike first. Jalen Mbakwe broken coverage on that one. He's going to take advantage of it and find the end zone. Blue Raiders got the ball back after a pick. It is first and goal, and they're just going to hand this one up off the middle. That is Jeremiah Cobb for the second touchdown of the game for Middle Tennessee State. A couple of defensive stops for the Wolfpack kept them in this game, and right before the break, they would find the end zone to cut this thing to 7, but they couldn't stop Middle Tennessee State right before the half. Cobb, his second touchdown of the game to go up 21-7 before halftime. Now, Nevada came out of the second half with the ball, and they had a long drive capped off by this cutback touchdown. That is how you counteract the defense, cutting back inside against the grain, finding the end zone, turning on the burners a little bit. 21-14 now your score, but the Middle Tennessee offense had the answer themselves. This is Jaden Creddle bobbing and weaving his way through the defense, making defenders look silly and finding the blue end zone to go up by 2 scores yet again. But this Nevada offense had their way on the ground. That is a nasty spin move to cut this thing back to a 7-point lead, but the defense just couldn't get those timely stops. Creddle, his second rushing touchdown of the game, 35-21. Middle Tennessee State wins yet again over Nevada. Louisiana looking to pull off a little bit of an upset over Arkansas State. 4-1 Red Wolves on the season. Get down early to Louisiana, 14-0, and If that doesn't tell you the luck that was on the Cajuns' side today, then I don't know what will. This one was an utter domination from first whistle to last. And this is something that we haven't seen from this Louisiana team in a long time. Exercised some demons in this one and put themselves in a good spot to compete in the Sun Belt. That 41-10 win was big, to say the least, in Lafayette. Next game we go to is UMass Central Michigan. This is an interesting MAC game. UMass 4-0 on this season, but Central is playing pretty well themselves so far this season. They take the lead with that touchdown pass right there. Now down 1. The UMass Minutemen looking to get some answers on the offensive side of the ball, but instead that route is going to get jumped, and we're going back the other direction for a 6. They kicked a field goal, though, so it's still just a one-possession ball game. 3rd and 7 on the ensuing UMass drive, and they're going to capitalize. They're going to tie this thing back up, converting the 2-point conversion. Defense makes a stand, gets the ball back for the offense, and they're going to pay them off. That is another Minutemen touchdown. They take the 28-21 lead, and they would be sure to add some insurance on that one. Brady Hart rolling out of the pocket. He's got plenty of room. Gets into the pylon. You couldn't see it, but it was there, I promise. UMass gets that conference victory. Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State in some CUSA action. They had a close game last year. Now Western Kentucky takes the 14-7 lead. Jacksonville State played in the conference championship game last season. They're one of the top dogs, to say the least, and they would respond just like that. 14-all right before the half. Jacksonville State with the ball again. Gamecocks check this one down, and this one is boop. Can't tackle me. Boop. Can't tackle me. Down to the 1-yard line. They would score the next play. They would also add a field goal to go up by 10. Hilltoppers, though, not going quietly into the night. Katie Hutchinson, the star playmaker, gets down to the 1. They scored 2 plays later, but I guess the defense didn't get the memo about trying to win this football game, because you could drive 25 semis through that hole that was created right there by the Jacksonville State offense. They go back up 10. Now, the offense did everything they could to keep themselves in this game. The patented Hilltopper screen for a touchdown cuts it to 3. But the defense, again, I just don't think they got the memo. I think they were just there to have a good time, not to actually win. That was an ugly play to lose on 38-28. Gamecocks needed it. Gamecocks got it. We got some early season Battle of the Bricks action for you. Miami, Ohio, 7-7 ball game. That is oh no, man, that is embarrassing. I do not want to be that man in the film room and film study next week, because you know he's going to get ripped a new one. 14-7 now, Redhawks up. Tim Carpenter, oh buddy, what are we doing? I don't know what that throw was, but I do know it resulted in a touchdown for Miami, and now they're up 21-7. This is looking like one of those Ohio games that they just turn the ball over too much, try and run too many man blitzes. Well, they score a touchdown right there. So, well, maybe not. Maybe they're still alive in this game. 3 minutes left in the second quarter, and oh, geez, they're going to try to Chase Hendricks, and he's got his step, and he's going to score. Folks, we're tied up. It's 21-all now, and they're going to get the ball back before the halftime break, and Chase Hendricks is going to score again. They were down 14 points literally 3 minutes ago. What in the world happened? And then they add to it 63-35. Good Lord. That's a patented Sean Combs win if I've ever seen it. Utah State, San Diego State. Coach Taylor and the Aggies looking to protect home field against the Slug and the San Diego State Aztecs, but it would be the Aztecs early on, up 17-0 right before halftime. Oh no. Oh no. Are you serious right now? I mean, talk about demoralizing. You drive all the way down the field right before half, and then second and goal, you throw it right to the defense, and they take it all the way back for 14-point swing before the break. They get the ball coming out of halftime, too. It's just, it's going to get ugly. It's 31-0 before you blink. I mean, this was a 17-0 game. It's going to be 17-7, and all of a sudden it's 38-0. And Utah State has not even sniffed the end zone or close to it since then. But they would right here. Corey Thompson Jr. showing off the wheels. For as bad as this offense might be, Corey Thompson Jr. is legit. He might have a shot at the NFL. Just throw him up the ball, let him run underneath it, make a few plays. It's 45-6 now, and I thought, okay, let's give Utah State some more love. This throw, bang! That is another touchdown. They would score 22 points, but they would lose by 26. So you kind of weigh the pros and the cons there. Unfortunate loss for Utah State, but big win for the Aztecs. They're 3-2 now. App State down 7-0 to JMU, but not for long. Add that touchdown and then a drive later, they're going to roll out of the pocket on the run. That is a beautiful throw. Whoop! Mountaineers wouldn't score on this play, but they did a few plays later, and then JMU pounced right back to tie this thing up at 14 with 7 seconds left before the half, though. They're going to find the end zone, a little QB keeper on the right side to extend it to 7. App State with the ball out of the halftime break, and this would be another touchdown. They would go up 28-14. We got to add a little bit more just for some insurance. Little slot option there. That is beautifully run. It's another touchdown, 56-35. This thing extended to not much defense there in the second half. Toledo taking on Kent State, trying to move to 4-1 on the season, trying to avoid that early conference loss that they had last year. They would do so with that touchdown right there, going up 21-14. And then before the quarter break, they would add another score to go up 28-14. And then you're going to punt to the most dangerous return man in the entire country. There's a reason this guy's in the Heisman conversation. It's not just because he does it in the offensive phase of the game, but he does it on the return side. That, I think, is his 6th return touchdown of the season already. I don't know. I've lost count. But in the punt game, in the kick game, the dude is unbelievable. And then Maddox Madsen on the run, going to find his other wide receiver. I believe that's Gastineau with the catch, winning 75-35. Little scoreboard recap for you. Missouri State falling to Missouri in a game that was so close. That would have been a statement win for Coach Wagner. A big win for Jacksonville State, moving to 1-1 in the conference over Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky still can't break through the top of the conference. Middle Tennessee State and Nevada playing a second of a home and home. Middle Tennessee State comes out victorious yet again. Ohio with a big win in the Battle of the Bricks. Offense looking nice and oily, if you will. If you know, you know. Bowling Green with a embarrassing performance, getting blanked by Western Michigan. Toledo, we saw that big win over Kent State, putting up 75. 62 of those came in the first half. UMass with a nice win over Central Michigan, 42-28. And then Buffalo, we didn't show that game because Coach Janus was out on a recruiting trip and wasn't on the sideline. They win 54-30 over Ball State. A sign of things to come there in Buffalo? I don't know, maybe. In the Mount West, San Jose State getting a big win over Wyoming. Nevada, obviously, with that tough loss, but did play much better this season against that Middle Tennessee State team. They're on the come up 100%. Utah State just cannot figure out the defensive side of the football, it seems like. And then Fresno State with one of the most embarrassing losses, losing to Food, just unacceptable. Coastal Carolina with a 56-30 win over FCS Midwest. Old Dominion trounces Marshall 49-30. App State with a nice win over JMU 56-35. That offense playing well. Defense, not so much. And then Louisiana exercising a lot of demons with that 41-10 victory over a good Arkansas State team. That is much needed. Now, you'll notice there's a couple of games here that we didn't get to see. So I didn't realize that Twitch has a 7-day expiration for non-affiliate members on VODs. And I had some stuff come up, so I couldn't really get to the editing that I wanted to early on. And we didn't get to see 3 games because of it. Now, Buffalo did not actually play their game. That was a simulated win, which is why I said he was out on a recruiting trip. The other 3 did actually play. It's just on me not realizing that there's a 7-day expiration on some of those videos, so I couldn't go and capture them. Your National Player of the Week is Jonathan Paylor with 10 catches, 214 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns, not counting his punt return touchdown. And I'm pretty sure there were some more return touchdowns in there somewhere that I didn't show you. That guy is just a demon. Like he is probably better than what we saw last year from that Toledo offense. In Conference USA, Exodus Ayers gets the Defensive Player of the Week. Josh Joyner gets the Offensive Player of the Week. He had over 100 yards of combined offense and 2 touchdowns. Great performance from him in the loss. Max Garrison is your Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week with 4 tackles, a TFL, a pick, and a touchdown. And then obviously Corey Thompson Jr., who else would it be? Get your Offensive Player of the Week. 5 catches, 235 yards, 47 yards per reception. That's a Randy Moss stat line if I've ever seen it. And then 2 receiving touchdowns. Junior Scipio for your Defensive Player in the Sun Belt, 10 tackles, 5 sacks, and 7 TFLs against Marshall. And then London Humphreys, this is a guy we're going to have to keep an eye on. 12 catches, 200 yards, 4 receiving touchdowns. He's legit. I'm telling you, keep an eye on him. We'll talk about him a little bit more in week 6, which coincidentally, here we are. We have 2 user games, but Every game besides 2, one of them coincidentally is a user game, is a conference game. So the stakes have now increased even more. We also have our first ranked team of Season 2. Middle Tennessee State comes in at number 24 in the country. We'll see them in action today as well. But we've just got a bunch of good games. We're actually going to start in Conference USA. We're going to go conference by conference now that we're into the thick of conference play. We're going to start here with Jacksonville State taking on Louisiana Tech. This Louisiana Tech team broke some dreams last year. They've already beaten one of the league teams this season, and they would be so pesky in this one. That run right there puts them up 28-21, but the Gamecocks respond with that touchdown right there. 28 all now. The defense did not show up, though. Oh, my gosh. White Boys got some nice moves to him. 35-28, 4th and 3 for the Gamecocks. That ball is dropped, giving Louisiana Tech great field position. Need the defense to make a stand here. 3rd and 6. We've hit the 2-minute. Jacksonville State still has 2 timeouts. And he's going to get out of the pocket. That ball is incomplete. That's awesome. We forced the field goal. Now, if they make this, it's only a 10-point ball game. You can get back here. He's going to miss it. He doinked it. Oh, no, that's a flag. It was roughing the kicker. And Louisiana Tech is now inside the 5-yard line. The quarterback keeps it again, and they go up 42-28. Just 38 seconds now. Can the offense get something? Jaden Davis finds the end zone. It comes down to this onside kick. They don't have any timeouts left. They need this in a prayer. And the Bulldogs are going to recover. Oh, my God. Special teams killing Jacksonville State. They now have 2 conference losses this season. Checking in on Western Kentucky now. They're taking on Liberty, and they would get off to a hot start. Katie Hutchinson, the converted wide receiver, showing that he's still got it. Hilltoppers up 7. Late in the second quarter, though, Liberty driving 1st and goal. They have a chance to tie this thing up, and they would hand it off. He would get the edge, and he would score. Western Kentucky back on defense after a punt right before the half. Defense needs to make a stand, and that ball is out, and we're going back the other direction right before the break. The Hilltopper defense says, let's find the end zone. But a defensive touchdown means you got to go right back out there, and somebody must have not told the Hilltoppers that, because what in the world was that? They get all the way inside the 10, the Flames do. And this is just the very next play, making changes at the line of scrimmage, out to the running back, and he finds the end zone. Fast forward to the end of the third quarter, and Hilltoppers are in the red zone. This is the same play they scored on earlier, but this time it's to a different receiver, and it's the same result. Western Kentucky gets the victory, bouncing back in conference. Coach Wagner and the Bears traveling to Albuquerque to take on New Mexico State, trying to play a bigger part in Conference USA this year. Fullback dive to take the lead back, 14-10 now Missouri State. But the defense right before the half, they weren't doing their job. That one is a long ball. 2 plays later, and the Aggies took the lead right back. Just an unfortunate series of events for the Bears defense. After exchanging some field goals, Missouri State finds themselves inside the 10-yard line looking for the touchdown, and they would get it, taking the 24-20 lead. They would add another field goal to go up 27-20, taking that full touchdown. But the Aggies showing off the extension. That is one of the best throws you're ever going to see. I have no idea what this defense is doing. Next drive, 50 seconds left, 4th and 2, and they're going for it, and they would get it. Are you serious? The gutsy call. The offense gets a little bit more, 3 seconds left. That field goal is true. What a victory for Coach Wagner and the Bears. That just gets you fired up every single time. Number 24 ranked Middle Tennessee State. Yep, you heard that right. They are ranked in the top 25, taking on Sam Houston in their first Conference USA action of the season, getting on the board early, 7-0. But the Sam Houston offense found its way right down the field with the answer. But the Blue Raiders would respond, and then they would look to add to it from the 15-yard line. Julian Duggar keeps it, and he has nothing but green in front of him. Now 31-17, Tyquan Yates breaks a tackle, and he has green. You want to talk about green? That's a lot of room to run, and they're not going to catch him. What a run from the senior. And if you thought that one didn't put the nail in the coffin, then this one certainly did. Talon Shetron breaks the tackle, and he is going to break angles. I don't know what it is about breaking one tackle and scoring a long touchdown, but they did it 2 times and got themselves the 52-17 victory. Delaware taking on Oregon State, so not CUSA action, but an interesting matchup nonetheless. 17-14, not anymore. Delaware on the board with that touchdown, 21-17 lead. Now 3rd and 12 for the Beavers, and they're going to load up deep, and he gets behind the defense, and what in the world? Was that some sort of warp? That was a warp catch. That's the only explanation. But the Blue Hens not letting it phase them. St. Fleur finding the end zone to take the lead right back. Now, this is after an Oregon State field goal to cut it to 1 point, and you see exactly what I see. That thing parted wide open. That is the easiest kick return you'll ever see. Avery dancing in the end zone. Blue Hens up by 8 now. However, the defense let the Beavs drive all the way down the field and find the end zone fairly easily. They would just need the 2-point conversion to tie this game up at 35. Great protection from the offensive line. Quarterback's going to look to run. He's going to throw it to the back of the end zone. It's incomplete. Delaware needs 1 first down to officially end this game. And Kelsey, QB sneak, that'll do it. Delaware with the big win here in Week 6 over Oregon State. As we move over to the Mountain West, Coach Aiden Crowley's taking on Coach Hey, Would You Blow Me? And it was the San Jose State Spartans that got on the board first. They love that little diamond 5-wide set. Creates a lot of matchup nightmares. But the defense, apparently the matchup nightmare for them is covering anybody on the Nevada offense. Spartans back down the field. They have a 2nd and goal. They're going to line up in their heavy personnel, hand it off to the running back. He's going to power his way into the end zone, taking the 14-7 lead. 3rd and 6 now on the ensuing drive for the Wolfpack. We're going to dump this one off on the little drag. And apparently tackling is optional for San Jose State. That is a Wolfpack touchdown from distance. Again, right before the half. This is still the 2nd quarter, folks. Spartans doing it again on the ground, taking the 7-point lead into halftime, or so you thought. Nevada back on offense, driving, throwing up the deep ball. That one is picked off. Unbelievable play. Can he get out of the end zone? He gets tackled at the 2-yard line. 11 seconds left. You just got to get out of the end zone. And no, that's going to be a safety. Nevada adding 2 points right before halftime, making this an interesting game if it wasn't already. First Wolfpack drive coming out of the break. They get the touchdown. They settle for the extra point. It's a 2-point ball game now. But the Spartan offense, when they got the ball back, they had it with a vengeance. They find the end zone. They take the lead right back. They're up by 5 now. But Nevada, we're going pinball back and forth. A little tennis match coming here. They need the 2-point conversion in order to go up by 3, keep it a field goal game. And they do not get it. That is key because San Jose State drove all the way down the field, wasted 3 minutes of clock, and then kicked this field goal to seal the deal. 31-29. Big victory in the Mountain West for Coach Crowley and the Spartans. Staying in Nevada, Fresno State still looking for their first win of the season. They're taking on 1-3 UNLV. The Bulldogs out to the early 7-0 lead, but the defense would give that lead up on this play right here. A broken tackle and no other help. Yeah, that's been a problem for this defense all season long. Just bad tackling, bad pursuit angles, but they played a fairly good game overall here today. They're up 10-7 now, but it's not going to last very long. Another UNLV touchdown. 3rd and goal now. We're in the 4th quarter, 4.5 minutes left. Off tackle run is in for the touchdown. That would be the last score of the game for Fresno State. Would UNLV be able to top it? 4th and 17, 52 seconds left in the 4th quarter. This is your final prayer. What do the Rebels have in store? They're going to chuck this one at the end zone. They say it's do or die time, and it is die. That is an interception. That is Fresno State's first victory of this season. Maybe, just maybe, they can make a bowl game in year 2 of Sonnenberger Jr. It's going to be a tough road, but they're not dead yet. Utah State trying to get win number 2 on the board, and this is the definition of a gunslinger throw. Fitting it in that tight window. Unbelievable stuff. Up 7-3 now as we enter the under-minute mark here in the first half, and a jet sweep is in for the score. That's how it's done right there. Nice little 2-minute offense from Utah State. And then Corey Thompson Jr., haven't heard from him yet today. There you go. That's the play we're looking for. And then why not run up the score, right? If you've been losing as much as they have, it's fun to get into the end zone. 28-10 your final. Big statement victory for Coach Taylor. San Diego State welcoming in Buffalo in a cross-country battle. And on the very first play of the game, that is a poor executed lateral. That ball is free and it's picked up by San Diego State. That is not the hole you wanted to be in early. Now 21-3 as the San Diego State offense is pouring it on. The defense, not so much. What a play across the middle of the field for the Bulls. That is a long distance touchdown that would cut into the lead just enough for San Diego State to sweat a little bit, but Tyson Chavez, this dude is unreal. The quick out to the flats, and then he's going to break 2 ankles on his way to the end zone. 18-point lead now for the Aztecs. You can see that it is 21 now, and they would add to it before the break. Let's be honest here. This was going to be ugly the entire way. That is an easy touchdown. It's 58-10 now. When I said it was going to be ugly, I meant it. This is kind of exactly what we expected, but Buffalo getting on the board 2 more times before the end of this one, but it was an ugly defeat at the hands of Coach Booth and the Aztecs. UMass taking on Akron in some action, and this one was interesting. So UMass gets on the board first with the touchdown there, but then they doink this field goal, giving Akron a chance to come back down the field, and right before the half, they make their field goal. And then we go make field goal from UMass, and then we go another made field goal from UMass right here. The final score of this one was literally 13-3. It was the most boring, decisive victory that you could possibly have. UMass getting another win in MAC play. Big one there. Northern Illinois taking on Toledo, and it's the Huskies that are getting on the board first. A little bit of a shocker there, but we know this defense is a little hit or miss early on in the game, but then they find their groove late. That guy, Jonathan Paylor, is always on. There's no reason that guy should not be in contention for the Heisman with the season that he is having. And then Maddox Madsen's playing some good football as well. 14-7 lead now for the Rockets, but the defense giving up another score. This one tied before halftime. But we know this offense can score from anywhere on the field at any given time. And that is disgusting right there before the half. There's just not much you can do to defend that. Now 21-14 later in the third quarter. Maddox Madsen going to keep that one, and he's going to find the end zone as Toledo goes on to win 48-21, picking up a big MAC win. Ohio taking on Kent State, and some more MACtion. You just got to, every time I can say MACtion, I'm going to say MACtion. They score right there to take the 7-0 lead. And then 3rd and 17, they're going to bring the all-out pressure like they normally do, but it didn't come quick enough. Pause. And then Kent State takes it all the way to the end zone to tie this thing up at 7. I feel like if we were just a bit better situationally as Ohio, we could get off the field a lot more. Doesn't matter, though, when your offense is humming like these guys are. Tim Carpenter, actually, I think it was Michael Van Buren this game. Carpenter got knocked out at some point early in this one. And it's only 14-7 in the fourth quarter here. Defense letting down the Bobcats big time. You just cannot have those missed assignments on the back end, breaking tackles, not even making good efforts on tackles if you're going to rush that many guys. Doesn't matter when you have Chase Hendricks on your team, though. Next drive, they go down the field, find the star receiver, and score the touchdown. And guess what? They'd find him yet again. This is ridiculous. At 42-21 final score, it was 14-7. It was 14-7, and it ended up 42-21. I don't know with that team. Bowling Green 1-4 on the season, looking to move to 2-4 with the potential to do so on the gray field at Eastern Michigan. That touchdown right there certainly goes a long way for that cause. And then Drew Pine fighting, showed off the man skills to get in there to make it an 8-point lead. 2.5 minutes left in the third, and it would be Eastern in goal-to-go territory, and they find the end zone. They missed the 2-point conversion, so still a 2-point lead for the Falcons. This run right here basically ends it. They win 21-15, picking up a big MAC win to try and keep them in this early season race. Old Dominion 1-3, probably the most shocking record so far of year 2 of the league. But I'll tell you what, they came to play today. With no more Colton Joseph, who is considered a terrorist by head coach Noah Gavin, they got off to a great offensive start in the Sun Belt and would win 45-10 with 6 rushing touchdowns from their quarterback. Yeah, I would say they've found their groove a little bit in Sun Belt play. And then obviously App State, who is phenomenal on offense, phenomenal on defense. A pick 6 to extend this lead to 14. they would score 28 first quarter points against the Red Wolves. And this Red Wolves team, obviously they lost to Louisiana big last week, but 4 wins already on the season. They're no slouch. That touchdown right there was the third one of the first quarter, and then this one from Kanye Roberts would put an end to the scoring in the first quarter. 56-24 your final. It was all Mountaineers in this one. Now we're going to do a little something different for this game. I'm going to let the game audio take over for this one. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for it.
Touchdown! The true fresh is hurt. If he's like hurt, that might be game, because this guy's got crazy throw power. I think the backup's like a 69. Everyone just got caught on a block. Every single player just got caught on a block. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, no shit, I'm going. No, we got that. We got that. We definitely got that. I pushed forward last second. Maybe I did. I'm not going to need timeouts. I'm not going to need them. We're winning this game. Oh my God. You know what? No, let him score. Let him score. Let him score. I want to go down. I want to walk him down. No! No fucking bell. I ain't hear no fucking bell. Are you fucking shitting me? Alright, yeah, the bell just rang.
What an epic collapse from Coach Goon and the Chanticleers. I hope you enjoyed what we did with the game audio there instead of me talking over it. I thought that one was worthy of the live commentary just because of, I mean, you saw it exactly how it went down. Let's go to the scoreboard recap to talk about the games that were this week. Obviously, Coastal Carolina blowing the 35-28 lead, giving up a 53-point burger after having that all in the fourth quarter. Unacceptable loss. I just don't know what else to say other than Coach Goon might be on the hot seat simply because his team does not know how to win the clutch anymore. If you remember in year one, that's all he was doing. He was 7-0 in the first 7 games of year one. And it was all because of just magical wins. And now those wins are not happening. And instead they're turning into losses. It's tough to be a Chants fan right now. App State with another dominant victory over a Sunbelt foe, Arkansas State. And obviously ODU, we just saw them dominate. Georgia State needed that Sunbelt win. They got it. Over in the MAC, obviously UMass with that 13-3 win. Listen, it's not pretty. It sometimes never is with UMass, but they get the job done. And I feel like this is a constant thing that we harp on. They're not in this to be flashy. They're in it to win football games, and they held Akron to 3 points. I think that did exactly what they wanted it to. Ohio up 14-7 in the fourth quarter, tied at 14, I should say. And then they won 42-21. Listen, when your team can close like that, there's not much you have to worry about. Obviously, you'd like a little bit more spread out through the game so you don't have to worry as much. But, hey, 28 points in the fourth quarter is good enough for me. And then Buffalo, I really don't know what to say about them anymore. It's kind of embarrassing to give up 65 points. I again, don't know what else to say. Bowling Green with a massive win in conference over Eastern Michigan. This team can go bowling. I really do believe in them, in Coach Pirizzi and the direction they're heading. They got to win these games, though. These are the ones that they have to pick up. Obviously, the loss to Western was tough. Good bounce-back spot for them beating a different directional school in Michigan. And then Toledo, putting up 48 points on an NIU team that really had no business being on the field with them. We see Toledo get out to slow starts, but then they pick it up towards the end. That was exactly what this game was. In the Mountain West, San Jose State showing that they are not to be messed with amongst the users in that conference, beating Nevada with a team ratings-wise that wasn't as good. Winning 31-29. San Diego State putting up 65 points. I don't care who the opponent is. When you put up 65 points, you got to feel good about yourself. This offense definitely feels like it's headed in the right direction, which is something that obviously San Diego State fans should be happy about. Is Utah State for real? I'm not saying like compete for a college football playoff spot, but like, can they compete in the Mountain West? That is my biggest question after that very decisive victory. I feel like they're in a really good spot. Coach Eric Taylor's finally starting to figure things out on the defensive side of the football, as we see right here. I don't know. Maybe. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I do feel good about being an Aggies fan right now. And then Fresno State with the massive, massive win. You would like to see the offense and defense both play well at the same time, but you'll take the victory, right? This UNLV team wasn't very good last year. They're not very good this year. I'm not going to worry about that too much because a win is a win, and you really need wins at this point. If you're Coach Sonnenberger, you're going to get fired if you don't. In Conference USA, Jacksonville State, now with their second conference loss. This is a tough one because they had the victory, and they would have probably, I feel really confident in their ability to win that game if they hadn't gotten that roughing the kicker on the missed field goal late in that one. Just really unfortunate series of events for the special teams unit that's been struggling a little bit this year. Western Kentucky with a big win over Liberty, bouncing back in a big way. Delaware over Oregon State. That one was a fun one down to the finish. Delaware usually does give us some good games. Not too much stakes for the grand scheme of things, but a fun game nonetheless. Missouri State with a big win over New Mexico State, not in terms of amount of points, but in terms of momentum going forward in this season. I think Coach Wagner can save his job, and that one right there is going to do a lot to get him there. And then Middle Tennessee State rounding us out with the big win over St. Houston, staying in the top 25, you'd have to imagine. Very cool to see a top 25 team from the league. I think Ohio was the last one, or was the only one last season, and they did so later in the year. Maybe we can get a few more by the end of this season. Talking about players of the week now, Jack Habert, 8 tackles, 4 sacks, 7 TFLs, and a forced fumble against Kent State, National Defensive Player of the Week. And then London Humphreys, 13 catches, 283 yards, 21.8 average, 3 receiving touchdowns. And I'm going to show you in a little bit, we have a Heisman conversation. This dude has been unbelievable the past couple of weeks. You'll see the stats after we do Players of the Week. And then the MAC Offensive Player of the Week, Chase Hendricks, another 200-yard receiver, 14 catches for him, 216 yards, 3 touchdowns. Obviously, a lot of those came in the fourth quarter with how little that score was going into the final frame, but a fantastic performance from him nonetheless. Then the Mountain West, it was Lucky Sutton, 17 carries, 64 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, but then also added 79 yards through the air and a receiving touchdown. So that's 4 touchdowns for him, over 100 yards of total offense. I mean, much more than 100 yards of total offense. I don't want to, short him there. Jaleel Colbreth with the Defensive Player of the Week honors in the Sun Belt. 9 tackles, 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, an interception, and a forced fumble, or a fumble recovery, excuse me. I mean, what more do you want from your Sam linebacker? You want him to knock some skulls, make some plays in the backfield, just be an all-around dude, and he was. So this is what I was talking about. The Heisman Trophy race right now is 2 teams, and the Louisiana Tech quarterback for some reason, who's a redshirt freshman. Unreal. It is Jonathan Paylor, who is an all-around return specialist and receiver. You see the receiving stats right there, 49 catches, 844 yards, 9 receiving touchdowns. But then this guy right here, London Humphreys, 69 catches so far this season, 1,404 yards, and 17 touchdowns. This guy is going to break the single-season receiving record in like 4 games. This is unbelievable, and this is what we have down the stretch of the season. We have this race. We have conference title races. We have playoff spots on the line. It really feels like somebody from the league is going to get one this year, and it's all happening on this channel in this series. If you haven't already hit the like button, please do so. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, you must hit the subscribe button. You're going to miss out on this content if you don't. And then while you're down there, why not hit that notification bell so that you get notified when these videos go live? That way you don't miss out on them, because the last thing that you want to do is miss out on any of these videos. I'm going to try to do a better job of condensing them so they're not an hour long. That does mean that some games will be shorter highlights than others, but I feel like it's been received better when they are in that 30 to 45 minute range rather than the 55 to an hour long. So that is a change that will be coming as we continue to find out what works best in this series, but I appreciate you guys being along for the ride. That is all I have for you today. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you on the flip. See ya.